Isolation day 24, Saturday the 11th of April. Hope everyone's well and looking after yourselves. In the UK the weather has been beautiful and I hope you've managed to spend a bit of time outside. On Good Friday, as I mentioned yesterday, I spent no time outside, or very little time, 15-20 minutes with family, just having a bit of food. I was working the entire day, and for a number of reasons I decided against that for Saturday, mainly because it's not fair on my family. Today was an interesting day. I'll run through it with you. Let's call it a day of two halves. So in the morning, my blood sugars were fine. I woke up at a reasonable time. My blood sugar was 6, which is great. And I had an omelette for breakfast, and you can see here a picture of the pump at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, the reason it's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and looking backwards is because I had to change my set at this time, and the set has to be loaded with insulin because my previous insulin only lasts for 3 days and has to be changed. So that's when I changed it. I then proceeded to spend the afternoon with my family, and you can see I spent a bit of time in the garden. I was looking at the computer and working with my daughter on a couple of bits. Then my blood started to increase, and they increased, and they increased. And I actually wrote something which I'll read to you. And it said, I had a good morning today, bloods were working well. Lunch was at 2:45 after taking insulin for 25 grams of carbs at 2:20. Bloods at the time were 5.6. which was fine. Just before lunch I changed the set on my pump, and here we are 3 hours later and my bloods are 11.8. My bloods actually got to 12.9, so they've gone from 5.6 to 12.9, and that was between, they started to increase at 3 o'clock, which was roughly an hour after I changed my set, and they carried on. What I do is I go through, and I'm sure you do, but I go through a list of issues and problems and try and work out why my blood's increasing. And as you know, on the low carb diet, my bloods really shouldn't get that high. The first thing is, and I'll go through the list here, did I take enough insulin for my lunch? The answer is yes. I had salad and salmon with a few pine nuts and a couple of crackers. I took enough insulin to cover that without a shadow of a doubt. I was confident of that. 2, am I sure I didn't snack and not take any insulin for it? The answer is yeah, I didn't snack, so I'm sure I had nothing else to eat. Number 3, is my blood sugars correct? The answer is yes. After I had the reading 11.6, I washed my hands, I took my reading, another reading from a different finger, not a look at my CGM, and yes, it was exactly the same. So, which is quite rare, but interestingly, it was exactly the same. So that's confirmation that the bloods are high. 4, is there anything that I've done that could have affected my blood? Am I feeling stressed? Am I tired? Am I annoyed? Or am I getting ill? Because all of those things, for me, do affect my blood sugar. The answer to that is no. I was feeling fine. I was okay. Starting to feel a little bit unwell because my bloods were increasing so quickly. Number 5, is it the cannula? Now the cannula is, here's a picture of it. The cannula is what's inserted, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but that's what actually goes into you and gives you the insulin. What I put is the cannula site sore when I look at it or press it? So if you look at it and it's red, or if you press it and it's uncomfortable, then you know it's sore and maybe you could change it. The answer is yeah, it was slightly uncomfortable. It does pinch a little when I pushed it. Number 6 is the cannula bent? Well, you only know that if you pull the cannula out. And at the moment, where it's a time of me actually trying to look after my kit, I don't really want to be wasting sets. I waited a little bit longer than the 11.6 that's here, and I got to just over 12.9, and I decided, well, you know what, it's gone up high enough, I now need to change it. So I pulled the cannula out, and again, there's the same picture, that's the cannula. And you can see that's not bent, that isn't broken, so the insulin was actually going in. Could there be a problem with could there be a problem with the insulin not getting in, and the pump not telling me? No, I don't think that was the case. I think the insulin was going in. The only conclusion that I could come to, and this is through a bit of experience, is the insulin was actually going into a muscle, and hence why when I pushed the cannula, it pinched a bit, which basically just means it was touching the muscle, and I could kind of feel something like that, and I thought that might be the case. So what I did was I changed the set entirely, took a lot of insulin, a lot more than I would normally take, and at the time of writing this I was still at 10.4, but it was on its way down from 12.9. The reality is it's not easy to deal with, whether you have a pump or not. I'm sure that most people have been through that, and you guys must have to go through your list of is it this, is it that, what the hell is it? Sometimes you just don't know. The worst case scenario is it's ketoacidosis, which is where your blood sugars are increasing so dramatically that you need to be hospitalised. And I guess that's always something that's in the back of your mind. I always check my blood sugars a little bit more. Needless to say, I changed the set. It started to come down, so I was quite confident it would continue. I then decided, you know what, I'm going to do exactly what I said to my family, which is I'm going to spend time with you. I said that at the start of the day. I'm not going to sit around and feel sorry for myself. What I did was I did some training at home with the kids, and then myself, my daughter Isabel, and my son Elliot well, here's a couple of pictures. That's Izzy and that's Elliot. And then I decided, you know what, after doing training together, they can jump on their bikes. I'll go for a little plod around the local area. And that's what we did. I decided I wanted to go for a plod just for my own sort of peace of mind and to get out of the house. And I also decided that I was going to take these two. So there's a little video for each of them. And I'm going to take this little horror with me. Smile.
Whee!
And this little horror as well.
What?
Smile. Here's a video of us actually running along the road and them cycling. Really good, family, wholesome stuff. The problem with that is afterwards my bloods continue down and they go low. So what I have is I have a day, and unfortunately I don't have a picture of that, but I have a day where I started that way, then it goes super high, and then it goes a little bit low. And then I struggle to get control again. Those kind of things do happen, and they happen quite often at times. Don't get me wrong, the set's going wrong and having insulin going into your muscle isn't ideal. Knock-on effects of doing that I will talk about tomorrow, because I have had some knock-on effects of the insulin actually obviously clearly coming out of the muscle and affecting me afterwards. These are just the things that sometimes you just have to put up with. So that's why I look rough, I look tired, my hair is unbelievable at the moment, so I'm going to have to do something about this at some point. But really, other than that, I think overall you just have to remain positive. You know what, I said at the start of the day I was going to spend the day with my family. I did so. Yes, it was problematic. Yes, it was stressful. Yes, I had to make those 180, maybe I had to make 190 decisions today that other people didn't have to make. But you know what, onwards and upwards, it'll be fine. Just let's approach it tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be a bit of a better day. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a better day than me, and your day was full of laughter and fun and family, because I had a bit of that, and that was great. But I hope you had just that, and you didn't, and your bloods were behaving, and the blood gods were kind to you, and nothing happened, and you were happy as you can be in this state of isolation. Okay, look after yourselves. I will catch up with you tomorrow. Thank you.